Imagine stepping into a warm morning scene where sunlight glitters on gentle waves. That sense of fleeting light and color is at the heart of Impressionism. Before this movement took shape, most artists painted according to long-standing rules. Fine detail, smooth brushstrokes, and dramatic historical or mythological scenes were the norm, endorsed by the powerful French Academy and official salons. These academic painters worked in polished studios, creating art that felt formal and precise. Then, in the late 1860s, a group of young rebels began to paint everyday life with new techniques. They wanted to capture moments as they truly appeared to the eye, quickly and directly. One of the sparks for the new style came from a simple harbour scene. Claude Monet painted Impression, Sunrise in 1872, showing fishing boats on a foggy morning in Le Havre. The loose brushstrokes and soft palette didn't fully detail the boats or sky. Instead, they suggested the shimmering sun and mist in broad sweeps of colour. When art critics saw it at an 1874 exhibition, one mocked the whole show by calling these works merely impressions of scenes. Ironically, Monet had titled his painting Impression Sunrise, and that joke name stuck. Suddenly, the movement itself was called Impressionism, and art would never be the same. A key innovation of the Impressionists was en-plein air painting, working outdoors. In earlier times, artists sketched outside but finished in dim studios. By the mid-1800s, new portable paint tubes and collapsible easels let painters travel into the countryside or cityscapes. Out in the open air, they could see and capture the changing light and weather directly. Instead of carefully mixing colors in a studio by candlelight, they dabbed fresh paint onto canvas under the very sky they were painting. This approach meant brushstrokes became quicker and more visible, often mixing colors in the eye of the viewer instead of on the palette. For example, Monet would set up by the Seine or in his garden, painting the river or flowers as they caught the breeze and sunlight. By contrast, a studio portrait or historical scene of the old days looked smooth and controlled, like a photograph, whereas Impressionist works danced with color and loose form. Not everyone liked these rough, light-filled paintings. The conservative art world rejected many Impressionist works at the annual Paris Salon. Instead of giving up, the artists took control by organizing their own shows. In 1874 and the following years, they held independent exhibitions far from the Academy's grip. This was a bold cultural shift. They were now selling art on their own terms. Wealthy patrons and middle-class buyers began to see the freshness of these paintings. Dealers like Paul Durand-Ruel championed the group, exhibiting Monet, Renoir, Degas, and others in galleries and abroad. This new market changed how art circulated. No longer did only the salon decide what was good. The public gradually warmed to these scenes of modern life, and collecting avant-garde art became fashionable. In this way, the Impressionists helped establish the modern art marketplace, where individual creativity could flourish. Impressionism didn't just transform painting, its ideas spread through culture. In early cinema, filmmakers experimented with images in ways that echoed Impressionist vision. Some French movies in the 1910s and 1920s, like Abel Gance's Napoleon, used innovative camera techniques and lighting to create dreamlike moods. These moving pictures felt more like living paintings, with blurred motion and glowing sunlight, showing how Impressionist art influenced how stories could be told visually. Music took on the Impressionist mantle too. Claude Debussy, often called the Impressionist of music, though he wasn't keen on the label, wrote melodies that felt like musical paintings. In pieces such as Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun or La Mer, he used unconventional scales and floating harmonies to evoke misty landscapes and shifting lights. Debussy famously said he wanted to paint by sound, using chords as colors. His music, full of soft focus and atmosphere, shows how the idea of capturing an impression carried from canvas to concert hall. Writers also caught the Impressionist wave. Poets like Charles Baudelaire sought to capture the essence of a moment. Later novelists, think Marcel Proust or Virginia Woolf, crafted their stories more as streams of consciousness and vivid scenes rather than straightforward narratives. Their prose often follows a character's internal impressions of light, color, and feeling, much like the Impressionist painters did. For example, a character might notice sunlight flickering through leaves or hear a distant melody and linger on that simple experience. This style of writing mirrored the visual artist's goal, to prioritize perception and emotion over neat plots. Impressionism opened the floodgates for countless artistic movements to come. By rejecting the old rules, these painters inspired post-impressionists like Vincent van Gogh, Paul Cézanne, and Paul Gauguin to push further. Van Gogh amplified Impressionism's color and emotion, and Cézanne's later work on form and perspective laid groundwork for Cubism. In fact, Picasso famously said that all modern art began with Monet. Fauvism and Expressionism, with their wild colors and feelings, can trace ideas back to these early light catchers. Even abstract art owes a debt. By showing that art could be about color and sensation alone, Impressionism made it thinkable that canvases needn't depict reality at all. In short, by the early 20th century, nearly every avant-garde painter knew they were standing on the shoulders of those 19th century rebels. Impressionism is more than pretty pictures. It's a story of daring to see the world differently. These artists taught us to notice light dancing on water, the warmth of a sunset, or a rainy street glowing at twilight. Their friendly rebellion changed how art and culture moved forward, from inspiring Debussy's music to influencing the very films we watch. Thanks to Impressionism, the art world became open to endless possibilities. If this whirlwind tour painted a smile on your face or sparked your curiosity, give us a like and share it with friends. There's so much more to discover about art and history, so stay tuned for more crash courses. Every like helps these ideas spread. Consider subscribing and joining us on this creative journey. Keep looking for those bright moments in everyday life, just like the Impressionists did.